I'm Teacher Mike, and today we are going to look at approximately 20 ways to use the word turn. How are there so many ways to use the word turn? Well, because today we are talking about phrasal verbs with the word turn. I'm sure that you already know some of these, but I guarantee that there will also be a few that you have never heard before. So let's start with a few basic ones, and then we will continue on to the more advanced ones. First, you can turn on and turn off a machine or something that uses electricity. Turn the lights on when you wake up. Turn the lights off before you go to sleep. Turn on the computer when you need to use it, and turn off the computer when you are finished using it. Also, sometimes we say turn out the lights instead of turn off the lights. They mean the same thing. When we increase the strength of something, when we make the music louder, when we make the air conditioning cooler, when we make the heat warmer, we use turn up. I can't hear the TV. Could you please turn up the volume? I'm getting a bit cold. Could you please turn up the heat? I'm getting a bit warm. Could you please turn up the air conditioning? When we decrease the strength of something, when we make music quieter, when we make the air conditioning less cool, when we make the heat less warm, we use turn down. The music is too loud. Could you please turn down the volume? I'm getting a bit too warm. Could you please turn down the heat? I'm getting a bit chilly. Could you please turn down the air conditioning? When something transforms, when it changes from one thing into another thing, we use turn into. The caterpillar turned into a beautiful butterfly. I turned my basement into a video recording studio. The small disagreement quickly turned into a big argument. When you give a test, project, or homework assignment back to your teacher after you have completed it, we use turn in. Please turn in your projects by the end of the week. I turned my homework in late, so my teacher took off 10 points. But we can also use turn in for people. When you turn in a person, that means that you take them to the police station, or you tell the police that they did something illegal. Dave was sick and tired of running from the police, so he turned himself in. She turned in her best friend because she was afraid of going to jail herself. And we can also use turn in to mean go to bed. It's late. I should turn in now. And honestly, I have never said that, but many people do say that. Now let's look at 3 different ways to use turn out. First, we can use turn out when we want to explain how a situation ended. We were very worried in the beginning, but everything turned out okay in the end. He seemed like a really nice guy at first, but he turned out to be a real jerk. Second, we can use turn out to talk about people coming to an event. 5,000 people turned out for the protest. In this type of situation, you can also use turn out as a noun instead of a phrasal verb. We are expecting a turnout of at least 10,000 people today. And the third way that we use turn out is to talk about production. My bakery turns out about 100 loaves of bread each day. The factory turns out over 400 pairs of jeans per day. When we decide to stop going forward and go back the way that we came from, we use turn back. This path seems really dangerous. I think we should turn back. When we do not allow someone to enter a location or an event, we use turn away. The hospital had to turn away patients because all of the beds were full. We tried to get into the nightclub, but the bouncer turned us away. When we decide to ask someone for advice or for help, we turn to them. When life gets hard, I turn to my friends and family for support. Some people feel like they don't have anyone to turn to, so they might turn to drugs or alcohol. Earlier, we talked about turning someone in to the police, but if it is a thing and not a person, we use turn over instead of turn in. The company was forced to turn over all of their financial documents. The rebels agreed to turn over their weapons to the military. And turn over can also just mean to flip something. When you start to see bubbles, turn the pancake over and continue cooking for 1 more minute. And earlier, we talked about turning down music, turning down the air conditioning, and turning down the heat. But you can also turn down a person or turn down an offer. This is basically the opposite of accepting. She turned down my offer. She said it just wasn't good enough for her. I made him a very good offer, but he turned it down for personal reasons. Finally, we are going to look at one more way to use turn on and a few more ways to use turn up. To turn someone on means to make them feel sexually excited. His deep, sexy voice turns me on. John is more turned on by a woman's intelligence than by her appearance. And to turn someone off is the exact opposite. She was turned off by his rude behavior towards the waitress on their first date. And we often use these as nouns, not just as phrasal verbs. For example, bad hygiene is a big turn-off for most people. If something turns up, that means that it appears or it is found by someone after it has been missing or lost for a period of time. I can't find my water bottle, but I know it's here somewhere. It will turn up eventually. If a person turns up at a location, that basically means that they arrive. We're still waiting for a few more people to turn up, and then we will begin the meeting. And finally, to turn up or to be turned up is a slang term that was introduced sometime in the last 20 years. If someone says, I'm going to go to this party and I'm going to turn up basically means get crazy, party, drink alcohol, do drugs. So yeah, those are some phrasal verbs that include the word turn. There are definitely more that I didn't talk about, but these are the ones that I wanted to talk about today. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.